Hi there, I'm Kasia. I'm one of the co-founders of Earnest, a platform for fleet partners in the gig economy. So if you manage drivers and couriers who earn on platforms like Uber, Bolt, Glovo, Volt, FreeNow, you name it, you are probably familiar with the problem that every Monday you have to log into each one of those platforms and then download weekly statements so that you could calculate how much to pay out each worker. Very often, fleet partners run these calculations in spreadsheets. So if you're still stuck with the spreadsheets, I hope you're going to find this demo helpful. I'm going to show you how you can automate that process so that figuring out how much to pay out to whom would take you minutes instead of hours. Let's get started. Here in the Data tab, you can upload files for the previous week. If you're managing multiple accounts and downloading these takes you a lot of time, we can also help you connect the Uber and Bolt accounts via API. If you would be interested in that, let us know. But as you can see here, Earnest has figured out which CSV belongs to which platform and which week it was. So I'm going to confirm the files. And then in the next step, we're going to configure driver profiles in Earnest. This step you only have to do once, because once we know who is who across all of the platforms, in the next weeks, you're not going to have to do that mapping anymore. So I'm going to go through creating the driver profiles. You can add in the details such as their email address, phone number, any external ID that you're using, that's possible as well. I'm going to quickly do that for the rest of the accounts here. Now that we have our driver profiles created, we need to add contracts to them. That describes the relationship between a fleet partner and the driver and courier. So any fees or deductions that you want to do before paying people out. Let's assume for simplicity that all of these people have exactly the same contract. You can define here how do you want to deal with the VAT, whether this contract type is on a B2B basis or employment. We can support pretty much any kind of business fee. So if you don't see here an option that you in your fleet have, let us know, we can quickly add it in. I'm going to assume that we are partnering with these drivers and couriers on a B2B contract, and I will set a proportional fee, meaning that from whatever those drivers and couriers earn, the fleet partner keeps 20%, and we exempt tips from that fee. Let's also assume that all of these people, or several of these people, rent a car from us. So I'm going to add a weekly recurring deduction in the amount of 200. And I can here choose which drivers don't have contracts. So it's assumed that that fee with the car rental applies to this set of drivers. I could also set it as a template. So I could describe it here as a proportional plus car. And this is just to make it easier for me to use this template later. Okay, then a subset of the drivers already have their contracts created, and now we're going to configure the contract for the remaining people. Also, let's do B2B, but this time let's assume that these are couriers, so they only have a fixed fee every week of 25. They don't rent any vehicles from us. Very simple. And I can also define it as a template. Okay, now that everyone has their contracts created, we can move forward to calculating how much we should pay them out for the last week. Here, I'm going to click Run Calculations. And as you can see, this took seconds instead of hours of moving columns around in a spreadsheet. Next step is actually paying this amount out. So I can create a new mass payout. If I'm okay with all of the amounts, I can move forward with creating that payout. Week of 2306, create and review. And this is the step where I can download a CSV file or PLI or Elixir, whichever is accepted by your local bank. And once I'm done with the bank transfer, I would come back here and add a reference from my bank so that, later it's just easier to audit how much we paid and when. So here I'm just going to provide some reference and I approve the payout. And then lastly, we want to inform the drivers of the amounts that we have paid them out and send them reports. After generating reports, we can still review them. And that's exactly what that driver will receive in their email. And I can send those reports to the people. Obviously, if I don't have an email address, the report will not be sent. And if someone views that report, we will also be able to see it here. And that's pretty much it. A process that used to take hours of manually downloading the data, then uploading it to some spreadsheet, moving columns around, calculating fees by hand, can now be done in only a few minutes. If you're managing tens or hundreds of drivers, this can save you a serious amount of time. And we're just actually getting started. So if there's any additional features that you would need to run your fleet efficiently, smoothly, grow faster, please let us know. We're very open to ideas. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to contact us, visit our website or leave a comment. We would love to get in touch. Bye.